very different people. We're not Watusi. We're not Spartans.
We're CanAm riders with a capital C.
We are the wretched refuse. We're mutts. Here's proof. His nose is cold. But there's no animal more lovable than the mutt. Fall in? Yeah!
Oh yeah, a little Robert Cray. I better, you know, I'd love to play all that for you, but if you are a Robert Cray fan like I am, you're gonna have to go to Apple Music. Tell you what, man, YouTube is rough, boy. I tell you, you play a song for over 2 seconds, they will get in your business. At least they've gotten in mine a couple of times. I had a song play 9 seconds, man. They got all in my junk. Good morning, friends. It's been a nice dreary. You can see I've been vacuuming some water up. Yeah, Coach Vic had a big spill in her van. I had to get the shop back out, and then, you know, I took it apart to let it dry and put it out overnight. Then it poured down rain. It's supposed to rain all day. We had a little break. I figured I'd go for a ride. Yeah, I do that. You know, I don't let weather and all the little things slow me down. If I want to ride, I ride. Let me do something real quick. Got nothing behind me. I want to make sure I close the front all the way, and I did. You ever do that? You just you start riding and you go, I know I did my little check, but I don't recall doing that. When you have the battery tender and those sorts of things that you constantly are plugging and unplugging, it's easy to forget. So anyway, that's done. Ooh, yes. A little wet road here. I like it though. It's nice and cool today, but not cold. It's in the mid-60s and wet. I think we're supposed to have some really nice days for the next few days. But today, as you go for a ride with me, I want you to know that we are not normal people. We're not. You know, I had a lot of time away from the Spyder. Probably, well, actually, I've had more time away from the Spyder for the last couple of weeks than I have since I bought it. We went to California. We drove out there because of all the COOF stuff going on, and we had heard that they may shut down airports and all that, and we didn't want to get stuck out there and not be able to, you know, get an airplane, or, you know, if they canceled all the flights, that we'd have to be fighting with a million other people to get a rental car, and then we couldn't do that either. For 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, I didn't have any of the bikes or the CanAm, nothing, just the car. It was a beautiful trip, wonderful time with the family. Well, the roads are slick, I feel it. That's when I realized how hard I do actually push the corners on this thing, because it does slide. But I did have time away from it, and I got to thinking about all of the friends and all of the things that I've made, and not to sound like a sap, although I normally sound like a sap. I'm gonna hit one of my favorite roads this morning. You guys should be very familiar with this old road. You don't even live here and you're familiar with Miccosukee Road at this point. What makes a CanAm Spyder Ryder? What is it that draws us towards this machine? I mean, if I were to sit down with a pad and a pencil and a piece of paper, you know, and I looked at acceleration and braking and turning radius and all of those things, I can't say that this would be the machine of your dreams, but it is the machine of my dreams, and there's a reason for that, and I started thinking about that. What has created that? What is that? Is Bobby Bowden, the old football coach for Florida State, talked about the X factor. It was something that you couldn't see. It wasn't how much a guy could bench press or how fast he could run. There was something inside of them that made them a special football player. And I think that that's what can be said of CanAm Spyder Riders. Now, I'm not trying to pump your ego, although if your ego needs pumping this morning, you pump that baby right up. Yes, you can. And there is nothing wrong with pumping your ego. I got to give y'all a clean up here on the windscreen. Probably getting a little wet. You know, I rode a Harley Davidson for 17 years. That's a long time. I've ridden every motorcycle under the sun, from mini bikes to dirt bikes to enduros to sport bikes, you name it, I've ridden them. And you know, I have the physical prowess to ride what I want. And I own 3 motorcycles, this and the Suzuki and the Triumph. So I could really, if I decided to get one motorcycle, I could have any motorcycle I want. I could sell these 3, I could buy anything I want. And likewise, a lot of you are in that same category. So why the CanAm Spyder? Because folks, I think that the difference that I saw when I rode Harleys, and I'm going to open Pandora's box here. I'm ready for the hate mail. But I don't think Harley riders would disagree with me on this. And the same can be said of other brands, but Harley in particular. Harley riders are loyal to a brand. They're loyal to Harley Davidson. Their underwear says Harley Davidson, their boots, they have it tattooed on their body. They're loyal to a brand. That's what it is. I'm not loyal to a brand. I'm not going to lie to you. I love all of these things that I'm talking about, but I'm not loyal to any of these brands. They're companies, and these companies have one thing that they're out to do, and that is to make a product that they can turn a profit on. And if you think it's out here, I mean, they're going to tell you in their commercial it's to make you happy. It's not. It's not. It's to make them money so that they can put food on their table, a turkey in their pot, so to speak. So if we're not loyal to a brand, what are we loyal to? What makes us, what draws us to this machine? And I've come to an interesting conclusion. Now, this is not going to be 100%, as nothing in life is. We are riders. We're people who actually ride. We're survivors, overcomers. I don't say that flippantly either, because the stories that I've heard about survival, I'll tell you something else we are. We're unselfish. If I were to describe every CanAm Spyder RT person I've ever met, ever, I'm not excluding one single person, they are unselfish. More than likely, they have been faced with some sort of trial or tribulation in their life. Now, I'm not saying this isn't true of the F3, it could be. I'm not saying it's not true of the Ryder, it could be. So I don't want to get off into the models and brands, but I just had to say that because, you know, a lot of the people, because I ride an RT, are RT riders, and so those are the people I talk to. If you're not an RT rider, I really would appreciate you sending me your story. I'd like to hear your story of why you ride what you ride, to share some real life stories, because I got a lot of them. I've got an inbox full of them, and I'm going to try to start doing this once a month. But if you would, before we get going, hit the subscribe button, like, share, all that good stuff. You know what I'm going to say. You've heard it before. So the first story I'm going to share is about a guy named Tim. And, you know, I'm doing this from memory. So, you know, if you want your story shared with great specificity, I will do that. I try to be vague because I do respect people's privacy. But the first story is a guy named Tim. He's from Oklahoma, and he had a 16-year-old daughter who needed a pacemaker, and had you know, some family issues going on that were putting a crunch on them emotionally, and, you know, other things going on, and their family life got complicated. And he had been a rider for a long time. I believe he said for 17 years. But what he had said is that his riding was always about him, and he wanted more. And they went out and bought a Ryder. He took the riding class, one of the riding classes, with his 16-year-old daughter. And now riding isn't about him anymore. It's about their family. It's about the time he spends with his daughters. You know, they're looking at buying a second Ryder and buying an RT. They even ordered a Grom. They're riding two-wheel stuff. They're doing all kinds of stuff. And it was because of seeing the Spyder and seeing that, you know, Anyone can do it. You don't have to do it alone. You can go out with the people you love, people that have never thought they could ride. That is the common thread that I'm seeing in this, is a lot of folks that felt they would never ride again. They now have an opportunity to ride, and it's drawn their family together. Next is the story of Rolla and Paul. You know, he was a rider and had a dream of getting a bike, of one of the big Indian dressers, you know, and he got it, and he rode it, and he developed neuropathy in his feet due to some medical conditions, and eventually he just didn't feel safe. He just didn't feel safe riding with his wife on the back. So he decided he was going to ride alone, and she'd follow him. They even went to look at the CanAm Ryder and decided to get rid of the motorcycle of his dreams. We talk about buying the motorcycle of your dreams. He gave up the motorcycle of his dreams. You know why? To ride with the woman of his dreams. There it is. That's that unselfish thing. To give up something you've saved for. You've sacrificed your time, you've sacrificed your effort, your work, your money to get something, and you end up getting it. You're super excited, and then all of a sudden you develop a medical condition and you can't ride it safely with the woman you love. You got a choice. Ride alone on the motorcycle of your dreams, or ride with the woman of your dreams. Choice well made, my friend. Choice well made. Then there's Charles from Corpus Christi. Yeah, the great state of Texas. You know, he'd been riding since he was 15 years old. This dude's 60 years old. And after a couple of spills, man, you know, one with his wife on the motorcycle, he had decided, I'm done. I'm through riding. I can't do it anymore. Years later, him and his wife ran across our channel, and I would love to say that it was my my charm and wit that drew them here, but I'm gonna tell you what drew them here. It was Coach Vic. It was seeing someone with someone. It wasn't just me. It was the allure of Coach Vic and I able to do things with some sense of safety and security and visibility. Spyder time, you know what I mean? There it is. So someone who had decided because of safety they weren't going to do it. And I'm going to tell you this, and you can believe it or not, whether you're a two-wheel fanatic or a three-wheel fanatic, the CanAm Spyder, because of its wide front end, is much more visible than a two-wheeled motorcycle. It just is. And anyone who's ever ridden both will tell you which one they get cut off on more. I can tell you I get cut off on two-wheelers a lot more than I get cut off in three-wheelers. So it's because of that broad front end. It creates more of a profile for the driver to see. And there are other trikes out there, but the way the CanAm is, that is a definite benefit. So good for you, brother. I'm gonna tell you right now, as a guy who has gone down before and gone down pretty hard, to where, you know, I was an old black and blue body for a couple of days. I was much younger, thank goodness. It wouldn't be good now. Those things are scary, and they hurt, and they leave a long-lasting emotional scar. So I'm glad you're back on the bike, brother. That is just awesome. Oh yeah, loving these corners. Then there's Jerry and Jill, man. You know, he had been riding a long time. In fact, he started out riding, I want to say it was a Lambretta. It was a scooter. Super cool old scooter. I'll drop a picture of it right there. He had been a GWRRA guy for like 30 years. He had been even like, they got like a road captain position. He had done that for a couple of years. And once again, you know, they just started feeling unsafe on two wheels. The weight of the motorcycle. Now, you know, you're probably saying, well, Bob, you're talking about a bunch of old folks. Well, you know, some of us are old, but not all of us. You know, I talked to a guy here recently who quit riding because his leg's been broken so many times from racing, he can't hardly get on a motorcycle anymore. And he's looking at buying a CanAm Spyder. And I'll tell you this, I'm not going to say that, you know, he's Marc Marquez, but unless you're Marc Marquez, if I pick him up and put him on my speed triple, he will embarrass you, because he can ride his rear end off, let me tell you. I'm going to go a little further. I was going to end it there, but you know what? I'm going to keep riding. It's a little wet, but it's a beautiful day, man. I'm going to share one more story with you. It's a quick one. It's a guy that I met this year. In fact, I'm going to say this is one of my favorite Spyder riders on the planet. Bill, man, Bill and Millie. You know, they made quite an impression on Coach Vic and I. We got to spend a lot of time with them when we went down for Trike Fest, and they're just wonderful, wonderful, kind people. You know, Bill spent, you know, several years on a tin can during the Korean War, and a tin can, if you don't know, is a destroyer. And I believe it's the he manned the 5-inch 38 caliber guns. Bill's a guy who's been riding. He's a rider, man. Let me tell you, Bill's the man. You know what? I'll stack his fitness up against half the 45-year-olds I know. Him and Millie both. They're both fit, man. They could probably ride anything they want to ride. Bill used to ride a Goldwing and then decided to convert the Goldwing to a trike. Did that, and then after that decided to pick up a CanAm Spyder, and he bought a 2020 RT. I believe that's the series of his story. You know, we talked but Bill, man, you know, he's a guy that's seen the rough road, and he knows what's important in life. He went through a lot of the things that I went through. Bill's a good man. That's a phrase, man, that I hold in high regard. He is a good man. So what's your story? I know you got one, and I'm going to tell you, everybody I listed is loyal to riding, and loyal to riding with someone they care about. That is what makes Spyder people different. Now, I got Harley riders that ride with their wives, and they bought a dresser so they could ride with their wife. Every one of those guys, and I am not even going to discount a single one of them. If tomorrow developed a medical problem and could not hold that motorcycle up anymore, they would go out and buy a CanAm Spyder so that they could ride with their wife. If the choice was ride alone on my dresser or ride with my wife on a CanAm, they would buy the CanAm, hands down. That's the common thread, people, is that unselfish desire to spend time with the ones you love. That is the common thread that I've seen. Now, I'm not saying that can't be true of any brand, but that has just been overwhelmingly displayed in everything that I've seen about motorcycle riding. To me, that's what separates the Spyder. Man, it is so beautiful, y'all. It is so beautiful. Well, I'm going to turn it towards the house. I just want to ride. Well, again, if you're not a Spyder rider, I hope this has given you a better insight of the people that you see on the road, because a lot of this is not just for people riding a Spyder, or even the people thinking about riding a Spyder. It's an awareness thing. I think we trivialize what people have been through. You know, life is hard, and when you can find something that makes it a little bit sweeter, that's a good thing. People may look at you a little different, because guess what? You are a little different, and that's a good thing. You know, Coach Vic, when I did the little opener thing with the Stripes excerpt, the Stripes movie excerpt, she told me, she goes, "That doesn't even seem nice, Bob. That's not even nice." I said, "That is the ultimate compliment. We are mutts. I love it. All right, my friends. I want you to do me a favor this week. I want you to go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams so that you can ride with the woman of your dreams or the man of your dreams. Eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day. We'll talk to you real soon. See you on the road.